Salt is a universal ingredient. Without it, our food is tasteless. Now, what if I told you that salt is also deadly? It can kill you.
I mean, I look at labels from time to time, but I can't really be sure how much salt is going inside my body.
As Americans casually add salt to their diet, they're subtracting years from their lives.
In the U.S., we eat more than twice as much salt per day as we really need.
And there's your table salt. Table salt is a dangerous salt because we now have two very harsh minerals that if you were to inject both of those into the blood, you would die. There's two harsh minerals and they need all the other 90 to soften them and balance them.
Eating too much salt, whether in a single meal or over time, can lead to various health issues. Salt consists of sodium and chloride, which are important for muscle function, nerve activity, and maintaining fluid balance in your body. However, excessive salt intake can cause short-term effects like bloating, thirst, and elevated blood pressure due to water retention. In the long run, consistently consuming too much salt can contribute to high blood pressure, increasing the risk of heart disease, stroke, and kidney problems. In this video, we will explain how both short-term and long-term salt intake impacts your body. But first, let's look into what Barbara has said about things that are absolutely essential for life. Barbara explains that water is the second most essential element for life, with oxygen being the first. While you can survive only about 3 minutes without oxygen, the belief that you can last only 3 days to 2 weeks without water. To resolve this, Barbara emphasizes the importance of sodium, the third most vital element, followed by potassium, the fourth. Sodium, especially found in seawater, contains 92 minerals, with 30% being sodium and 50% chloride. However, the problem arises with table salt. After evaporating seawater, man isolates the sodium chloride crystals, bleaches them, and adds aluminum to create table salt, which Barbara considers dangerous. Table salt is made up of two harsh minerals, sodium and chloride, which without the balancing presence of the other 90 minerals in seawater can be harmful if consumed in isolation.
The highest concentration of mineral inside the cell is potassium. The highest concentration outside the cell is sodium. And in this bilayered membrane that is around every cell, there are sodium-potassium pumps. And these sodium-potassium pumps are ever going like this, maintaining the balance between potassium and sodium. But when someone's not eating enough fruits and vegetables, and that's where you get most of your potassium, and they're putting table salt on everything far too much, what happens now is sodium levels rise and potassium levels drop. There is a small amount of sodium in the cell, but when this happens, you see osmosis and diffusion happens when the highest concentration merges into the lowest. So now sodium levels inside the cell are rising, which they should not, and the cell swells. What's that called? High blood pressure. The doctor is right. Table salt will contribute to high blood pressure. There's a French doctor named Dr. Lelangre, and he's written a whole book on salt. He said, when people come to me with high blood pressure, I put them on Celtic salt.
Barbara believes that Celtic salt is highly beneficial because it contains 82 balanced minerals, unlike table salt. This hand-harvested sea salt has minerals that are in their natural, balanced form. She compares it to Himalayan salt, which has about 75 minerals and is good, but she prefers Celtic salt. One key reason is that Celtic salt contains 3 types of magnesium: magnesium chloride, magnesium bromide, and magnesium sulfate. These magnesium compounds are water-hungry molecules, which explains why Celtic salt is moist, especially in humid conditions. Magnesium plays a crucial role in helping water get into cells. Barbara suggests placing a small crystal of Celtic salt on your tongue to let the mucous membranes absorb the minerals. This magnesium is then taken to the cell membranes, and when you drink water, it helps pull the water inside the cells, hydrating the body quickly. For those with high blood pressure, she recommends starting with a crystal about the size of a sesame seed. For people without high blood pressure, they can take up to 3 such crystals. Barbara also mentions that drinking too much water without minerals, like those found in Celtic salt, can be dangerous, as the body can't efficiently pull the water into cells.
I've had people complain to me, they say, I'm drinking more water now, and now I'm going to the bathroom all day. So I say, are you having the salt? Have a little crystal before every glass of water. And ideally, we should be having approximately 8 glasses of water a day. And then I say to them, and don't drink a whole glass at once. I think I mentioned earlier, I drink half a glass as soon as I get up. I go to the bathroom, I drink another half glass. Then I get dressed and have another half glass. But when I start every glass, I have that little bit of salt. So you spread the water over the day. And many people have said to me, thank you so much, that has made a big difference. See, huge water in, it's not long before huge water has to come out. It's like watering a plant. And look how God sends the rain, little by little by little. And when there's a tornado, when there's a torrential downpour, that's when the soil gets washed away and flooding can happen. So remember that with your body. Take it little by little by little by little. It is the best way to take it.
She advises them to add a small crystal of salt before each glass of water. Ideally, she recommends aiming for about 8 glasses of water a day, but instead of gulping down a whole glass at once, she suggests taking it in smaller amounts. For example, she drinks half a glass as soon as she wakes up, goes to the bathroom, then has another half glass and continues this pattern throughout the morning, always adding a bit of salt. She compares it to watering a plant. If you pour too much water at once, it runs off, just like in a heavy rainstorm that can wash away soil and cause flooding. Instead, spreading out water intake gradually helps the body absorb it better, making for a healthier approach to hydration.
Lining our gastrointestinal tract are villi. And on the villi is a receptor site. And that receptor site is to take the glucose through and into the blood. So on this villi, we've got blood capillaries that go all the way through. Now in that receptor site is a carrier. And this carrier is designed to take the glucose through to the blood. But the carrier will not accept the glucose unless it comes with a molecule of sodium. I read this in my anatomy and physiology book. In the anatomy and physiology book, I memorized the sentence so I could give it to you from the horse's mouth. Sodium is the main transport system of glucose across the brush border wall and into the blood.
Barbara explains how the villi lining our gastrointestinal tract plays a crucial role in absorbing glucose into the bloodstream. Each villus has receptor sites that help transport glucose, but the carrier that facilitates this process only works if sodium is present. She cites her anatomy and physiology studies, highlighting that sodium is essential for transporting glucose across the intestinal wall into the blood. Despite this importance, people are often advised to avoid salt, particularly table salt, which can disrupt the balance of minerals in the body. Barbara notes that table salt can be so harsh that it even damages taste buds, leading people to douse their food with it before tasting. In contrast, Celtic salt enhances flavor while providing beneficial minerals. She shares a quick recipe for red lentils, which she often serves at breakfast. With just olive oil, herbs, Celtic salt, and a bit of turmeric, the dish is both flavorful and easy to prepare. The lentils, rinsed well and cooked just right, become a delicious and nutritious start to the day.
I'm not interested in being in the kitchen for a long time, and that's a very quick dish to make. So sodium not only is required to get the glucose into the blood, it's also required to get the water into the cell. So it's sodium. It's the third most vital element needed for life. And you can get that information on the 4 vitals in any anatomy and physiology book, chemistry book, biology book. I'm just giving you the facts here.
Barbara explains that sodium is crucial not just for transporting glucose into the bloodstream, but also for helping water enter the cells. It's recognized as the 3rd most vital element for life, a fact supported by various anatomy and physiology texts. Additionally, she notes that calcium requires vitamin D to enter cells. When vitamin D is present, it facilitates the transport of calcium. Once calcium gets inside, it acts like a king, allowing other minerals to piggyback into the cells along with it. Barbara explains that when magnesium is placed on the tongue, it helps pull water into the cells. This action activates tiny motors within the cell membranes, generating energy. So if you're feeling tired, having a bit of salt with water can give you a nice energy boost.
She really liked the salt. And if you give salt to someone, you know, what's the next thing they do? They reach for the water.
Instead of grabbing a coffee or cigarette during breaks, she suggests having your salt and water, and then taking deep breaths from a tree to soak in the oxygen, which can significantly increase your energy. She notes that each muscle cell has many energy cycles, and you can gain more energy than you expend during activities like walking, especially when you're well oxygenated. However, glucose needs insulin to enter cells. If insulin resistance develops, it can lead to issues like diabetes. This resistance often stems from a high-carb, high-sugar diet. To recover, Barbara advises reducing carbs, increasing fiber, and incorporating healthy proteins and fats into your diet. Barbara discusses the common issue of dehydration in America, noting that many people aren't drinking enough water or consuming essential minerals.
Of his book. Our brain cells shrink when they don't have enough water. Headaches are common when we don't have enough water.
She emphasizes that a lack of vitamin D, often due to avoiding sunlight, prevents calcium from entering cells, contributing to various health issues. She critiques the misconception that avoiding fats will lead to weight loss, pointing out that fats provide a sense of fullness. Instead, people on high-carb diets often feel unsatisfied and overeat. This can lead to a cycle where the body struggles to absorb water, minerals, and glucose, potentially resulting in high blood pressure as a last resort to force nutrients into cells. Yes, incorporating foods like dark leafy greens, such as kale and spinach, nuts, beans, legumes, and even lemon, can provide essential nutrients. These foods are rich in vitamins and minerals, particularly magnesium, potassium, and calcium, which support hydration and overall health. Dark leafy greens offer fiber and antioxidants, while nuts and legumes provide healthy fats and protein. Lemons can add vitamin C and enhance hydration when added to water. Balancing these foods in your diet can help address mineral deficiencies and improve bodily functions. You should eat foods like dark leafy greens, nuts, beans, legumes, and lemons.
So they're on a high carbohydrate diet, thinking that if they go fat-free, they'll lose weight. And can you see what's happening? The water can't get in, the minerals can't get in, the glucose can't get in, and the body says, what are we going to do?
Incorporating foods like dark leafy greens, such as kale and spinach, and others will provide essential nutrients. Dark leafy greens offer fiber and antioxidants, while nuts and legumes provide healthy fats and protein. Lemons can add vitamin C and enhance hydration when added to water. Balancing these foods in your diet can help address mineral deficiencies and improve bodily functions. But what happens if you skip those healthy foods, but keep piling on the table salt in one go, whether it's in a single meal or throughout the day? Well, you might run into some short-term issues. Water retention is one thing you might experience. You could feel more bloated or puffy than normal because your kidneys are trying to keep the right balance of sodium and water in your body. When you consume too much sodium, your kidneys hold on to extra water to make up for it. This can lead to swelling, especially in your hands and feet, and might even cause you to weigh more than usual. Eating a meal high in salt can lead to an increase in blood volume, which may cause a temporary spike in blood pressure. However, not everyone experiences this effect. Some people, especially those who are salt-resistant, might not see a rise in blood pressure after consuming salty foods. Factors like genetics and hormones play a role in how sensitive someone is to salt, and issues like aging and obesity can make the blood pressure effects of a high-salt diet even stronger. This is why not everyone will have the same reaction to salt-rich diets. After eating something salty, you might find yourself feeling really thirsty or experiencing a dry mouth. This is your body's way of trying to balance the sodium and water levels. Drinking more fluids helps with this.
Half an hour, they had 3 glasses of water, and he was just shocked at how the headaches are gone, the migraines have eased, the stomach ulcer pain had relieved, the asthma attack relieved. He only gave them water because he had nothing else.
But if you don't drink enough, your sodium levels can rise too high, leading to a condition called hypernatremia. Hypernatremia can cause water to move out of your cells into your bloodstream to dilute the excess sodium, which can be dangerous. If it gets severe, it can lead to confusion, seizures, coma, or even death. Other signs of hypernatremia include feeling restless. Studies show that a diet high in salt significantly raises blood pressure, while cutting back on salt can help lower it. For example, reducing salt intake by about 4.4 grams daily could decrease systolic and diastolic blood pressure. The impact is usually greater for those with high blood pressure compared to those with normal levels. Additionally, people who are more sensitive to salt tend to experience stronger effects, and factors like obesity and aging can make the blood pressure boosting effects of a salty diet even more pronounced. Eating a lot of salt may raise the risk of stomach cancer. Several studies have found a connection between high salt intake and an increased likelihood of developing this type of cancer. For instance, a review involving over 268,000 participants found that those consuming about 3 grams of salt per day could have a 68% higher risk of stomach cancer compared to those consuming just 1 gram. Another study suggested that people with high salt diets might be twice as likely to develop stomach cancer compared to those with lower intakes, though it didn't specify what counts as high or low salt consumption. While the exact reasons for this link aren't completely clear, experts believe that a salty diet may make the stomach more susceptible to cancer by causing ulcers or inflammation in the stomach lining.
So what is a stomach ulcer? It's basically a breakdown of the tissues.
Relationship between high salt diets, heart disease, and early death is still up for debate. Some research suggests that eating a lot of salt can raise blood pressure and stiffen blood vessels, which may increase the risk of heart disease and premature death. For example, a 20-year study found that people consuming less than 5.8 grams of salt daily had the lowest mortality rates, while those eating over 15 grams had the highest. On the flip side, some studies claim that high salt intake doesn't harm heart health or lifespan, and in fact, low salt diets might even raise the risk of heart issues and death. That's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.